like, girl, you're in the Smithsonian. My name is Dr. Sierra Civils, and I'm a nuclear engineer.
My statue was literally right at the front entrance. So the first time I went past it, I was driving to the building and drove right past it. And I said, oh my gosh, that's me.
Hey, we are in Laurel today with Dr. Tay. Dr. Latasia Jones, she is a neuroscientist featured right now in the If Then, She Can STEM exhibit. First of all, what's that like? You are now immortalized in a statue. How many living people can say that?
That is true. How many living people can say that? But more importantly, how many women can say that, right? And that's the biggest feature or the biggest part of this initiative, is to make sure we increase that exposure to women, and especially women in STEM careers.
Dr. Civils, where are we today and what do you do here?
We are at Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Lab, and I'm a nuclear engineer here. My research mainly focuses on how radiation affects materials. I saw it as an opportunity to share my story and maybe change someone's trajectory in the future. And so having this opportunity as an ambassador to do something on this national scale for me was very important, because as a Black woman in a male-dominated field, I wanted to show that representation.
The relationship between aspiration and inspiration, and you have to have a little inspiration of those who look like you to even be able to aspire to be the things like Dr. Latasia Jones or Dr. Sierra Civils.
Letting kids understand science or STEM altogether in more fun and explorative ways. I like to use hands-on activities and encourage them to see the excitement in STEM. Once you add some Alka-Seltzer, you'll get a bubbling effect.
Ooh.
And that allows the kids to learn a little bit about gas exchange, gas release.
We started this all for a very simple reason, and that is that science is the answer. It's going to be the answer to cancer, to COVID, to climate change all around us. And to build this better future, we're going to need all of the minds at the table.
Often at times I always felt like I had an imposter syndrome. I've been in a lot of spaces where I was not only just the only woman, but the only Black woman, the only African American woman in a lot of spaces.
When we were talking with Dr. Tay, she talked about something called the imposter syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
It was a slap in the face to me, thinking, how can this be? This brilliant woman standing in a room feeling like she's not
supposed
worthy.
to be there. Yeah.
Did you have the same kind
Of course. All through MIT, through Michigan, at APL. Like, think about if you were the only person that looked like you in a room. How isolated you might feel. If you have people in those rooms that are second guessing you, that does make you sometimes feel like, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to be here.
I grew up thinking Bill Nye the Science Guy and Steve Urkel were the only scientists, and I had to look like them and I had to do things like them, even socially. And then I realized, I'm a girly girl. I like to wear dresses. I like to wear makeup and get my hair done.
My 3.5-year-old daughter was able to meet Dr. Civils in person and look up, and she's never seen a statue in real life before, and she was able to connect with her and really understand that this is what a scientist looks like.
Just to see a child so excited to hear you talk and look at you and take pictures, for me, just lets me know that we're doing the right thing with this initiative.
Wow, I had so much identification in listening, especially about the Bill Nye the Science Guy and the Steve Urkel. That was my entire Walker Mill
You connect
Middle
with
School
Steve
career.
Urkel, yeah.
Absolutely. I love the conversation about imposter syndrome because that is not confined to any one group or any one discipline or anything. Lots of people suffer from that, and one of the ways in which you can try and eradicate that is by having representation.
Yeah.
And this particular piece, and one of the reasons why I love it, is because it's people that are actively working in STEM, because a lot of times these monuments are to people that have lived long ago and achieved things that we can't necessarily touch.
Right. So the Lyda Hill Philanthropies, they found this, they connected these two things, being that there's not a lot of women statues out there, and there's this drastic need for women in STEM. So they went to work and they put the two of these together. Now, in D.C., you talk about representation. D.C. is a statue where a city where you turn around and there's a statue of somebody there, but it's a statue of a guy. There are less than 5 statues of women in D.C., including Mary McLeod Bethune and Eleanor Roosevelt. Only 6, they found, the Lyda Hill Philanthropies, only 6 statues of women in the top 10 cities in America.
Wow.
So this is something where they wanted to have, young girls go out and look at these and go, that's something I can do. That's something I can do. Dr. Jones was the first black woman with a doctorate in Florida State in biomedical sciences. Dr. Civils, the first black woman with a doctorate in nuclear engineering from the University of Michigan. These are women that should be looked up to. Really glad I had a chance to meet them and hope other girls can follow in their footsteps.
Absolutely. Very well said. We'll make sure we put this out on social media as well.
Yeah. So we got this story because, of course, we saw all the statues lining up on the National Mall during Women's History Month. So if you see something that piques your interest, reach out to me. Email alongo@wsa9.com or hit me up on social media.
All right. Coming